Bienvenidos a Mazatlán, Mexico. If you enjoy our videos, please subscribe, like, and share so we can continue to provide you with the best in travel tips, news, and information. So, you decided to travel to Mexico, but where to go? There's so many great choices. And if you decide you want to stay near the beach, here are some of the more popular options. One of the most popular, if not the most popular tourist destination is the Yucatan Peninsula, with Cancun, Tulum, Playa del Carmen, Cozumel, Isla Mujeres, to name a few. And keep an eye out for our Playa del Carmen video. I'll list a link below. But let's move our focus to the west coast of Mexico. First, we have Cabo, which is a great destination for singles, families, or luxury travelers. Next up, Acapulco. It's been a while since I've been there. One of the original Mexican resort cities. It's a classic. Now let's look at one of the most popular family destinations on the west coast, Puerto Vallarta, as it caters to tourists who come to explore the wonderful city and beautiful beaches. Now let's look at our city for today, Mazatlán, Mexico. So if you're looking for some luxury travel or a place to party, Cabo might be your choice. And looking at Puerto Vallarta, it's definitely a city that caters towards tourists, families, and couples alike. You could tell by all the tourist restaurants and cafes. Mazatlán also has a lot of restaurants and bars, but more of a local vibe. I kind of like that. Plus, it's more of a budget-friendly option. If you have the opportunity, I think each one of these cities is worth a visit. Now, just to give you a general idea, let's take a look at some of the prices across these 4 coastal Mexican cities. Now let's look at the weather in Mazatlán year-round. As you can see, it has 4 months where it can get a little cool at night, 4 months where it's pretty comfortable, and 4 months, once you add the humidity in, it can feel quite hot. Tip 3, when to go. This usually depends on you and your schedule, but if you're open, here's a look at some of your options. Now, like I mentioned before, it gets very hot in the summer, and I've been to Mazatlán, I think maybe 5 times in July. And yes, it does get very hot and humid, but we always get a place by the beach, so we have the nice cool breeze coming off the ocean itself to cool off in, and always have a cold drink nearby. And when it rains, it usually doesn't last too long. It comes in fast and furious, and usually leaves just as quickly. So we invite everybody up to our room for a few cocktails until the rain passes. And Lily took lead by becoming bartender and making drinks for everyone. They were quite tasty. And the streets do flood, but it doesn't last that long. Just be aware. And soon enough, you can see the sun just starting to peek out. And before you know it, you're on the beach enjoying the beautiful Mazatlán sunset. Tip 4. How to get to Mazatlán. Let's look at these 4 options. First, flying, which will probably be the main means of transportation for most of you. These flights listed below are some of the popular direct flights to Mazatlán. From the East Coast, we usually come in via layover in Dallas or Mexico City. I've flown in both day and night, and you have a great view from the sky. I really like the Mazatlán airport. Well, who doesn't like a small airport with a tropical feel, palm trees swaying in the wind, and there's not too many terminals, so you can get through customs usually pretty quickly. And you're given a friendly welcome upon entering the airport, and it's not a far walk to the baggage claim, so you can get your bags quickly and head off to the city. And if you're not getting picked up, taxi or van service is a comfortable, convenient option. You buy your tickets inside the airport, and it's a preset price, so no worries there. You have an option of a regular taxi or a van. We usually take the van because it's less expensive, but the downside, they wait for the van to get pretty full before they take off, so depending how many flights there are, you might have to wait a while. While we're here, let's talk a little bit about the taxis in Mazatlán. You have the regular car taxi, then you have the open-air Pulmonía, which is a little more money, but you should try it out at least once for the experience. And if you're with a group or a large family, you might want to check out these red trucks called Aragas. Now they play some loud music and will pretty much take you anywhere you want. And if you're in a group of 6 to 10 people, it might be worth it. But make sure you negotiate the price before you get in the taxi. You'll get the tourist price, not the local price. That's just how it is. They also have Uber in Mazatlán that'll take you most places within the tourist area. We'll touch base on this a little bit later in the video. Next up, cruising to Mazatlán. Mazatlán is a very popular port, especially coming from the West Coast, like Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, or Vancouver. Next up, driving to Mazatlán. Now, this isn't for everyone. Unless you know the route, you've done it before, or you're with somebody who's familiar with it, I'd probably opt out of driving. One safety note, depending which road you're taking, you'll probably lose cell signal somewhere along the way. Depending on your route, you might pass this, one of the highest bridges in the world. It's pretty cool. And we had this helpful mannequin here, making sure we didn't go too fast. Last up on our list is taking the bus. Depending which city you're coming from, the bus can be a very inexpensive option, but it also might be your slowest option. Tip 5, the zones. Let's take a look at some of the more popular areas in Mazatlán. First, we have Centro, Old Mazatlán. This area is easily walkable with a lot of historic sites and great restaurants. Then we have the Golden Zone, which is the main hub for tourists, with many hotels with great ocean views, wonderful beaches, and plenty of open-air clubs and restaurants to choose from. Then you have the Marina, a little more spread out and chill than the other zones. We enjoy the vibe, and who knows what the new zone will be called, as they're constantly expanding with new condos and hotels. Tip 6, safety. Now, I know Mazatlán gets cited in the news every once in a while for certain activities, so make sure you check your local government sites. I have a few listed below. Now, I've been to Mazatlán quite a few times, and I've never, ever felt unsafe. I've mostly stayed in the tourist areas, but just like any other tourist city, always be aware of your surroundings, don't flash cash or jewelry, don't walk around alone at night, and stay within the tourist areas if possible. Tip 7. And the reason many people travel here, and probably where you'll spend most of your time, the Mazatlán beaches. Like I had mentioned earlier, there's so much of a local feel here in Mazatlán. A lot of families on the beach. It's got that cool, chill vibe. I really do like the ocean here, but you're not going to find that Caribbean clear blue turquoise water. The water here is warm and calm for the most part. You'll get some small to medium waves, depending on the time of day or night. The sand itself is fine and has this beige tan color, and it will get very hot under the sun. So when it's time to cool off, you might need to make a run for the ocean. And since it gets quite hot here, especially during the summer, an umbrella is a necessity. Throw in a few chairs and a couple of tables, and you're set for an afternoon at the beach. And the rental price for the day is pretty inexpensive. In the morning, the beach really isn't too crowded, but by the afternoon, tents and umbrellas as far as the eye can see. And all day, you'll be hearing banda, the music of Sinaloa. It's kind of a combination between Mexican music and polka music. Our group definitely likes to support the local artisans. They have a great selection of local jewelry to choose from, and it's pretty inexpensive for what you get. And of course, they have plenty of people coming around selling food and drink. But our favorite has to be the fresh coconuts. There's a guy on the beach who sells coconuts for about 50 pesos. He's got a little stand set up near our favorite beach. And I also enjoy the process of how he decides which coconut is best for us. And he's a master at the machete. It's quite a skill. He carves out all the best pieces for us. And don't forget the lime, the tagine, and if you dare, some hot sauce. But don't leave quite yet. You gotta wait for your coconut water. He'll put it in a plastic bag for you, and it's so refreshing on a hot beach day. And if you want, add a little vodka. We prefer rum. It really is quite tasty. Tip 8, things to do on the beach. So you're hanging on the beach with friends and family, drinking, laughing, but you decided you want some activity in your life. I think we've done each one of these at least once. Let's take a closer look. In the morning, they have a group that swims out to Bird Island and back. I think it's pretty interesting and ambitious, if you're up for it. And they also have the typical banana boat, but we preferred the stingray rafting, which seemed more of a challenge, which it actually was, because of the 4 people who went out, only 3 returned, still on the raft. One early morning, we rented kayaks and paddleboards to go out to Bird Island. We had 2 people each in the kayaks and 1 on the paddleboard. Bird Island, next to Deer Island, is an ecological reserve. We spent a little time on the island before returning. It was a nice little adventure. Now it's time to head back in the kayaks and head back to the beach for a cold beer and a little more adventure. Like I mentioned, you could rent a paddleboard, and on a good day, you can get some decent waves for bodyboarding. And if you're up for a sky-high adventure, why not do a little parasailing? You can get a great view of the Mazatlán beach from up there, and if you time it out just right, you could be sailing along during the beautiful Mazatlán sunset. Now let's look at some of your options off the beach. Okay, so you've been on the beach all day, having fun, relaxing, but now you want to experience a little culture, maybe see a few sights. There's no shortage of things to see in Mazatlán. And make sure you check out their incredible boardwalk. I believe it's the 3rd longest in the world and the longest in Mexico. Now let's look at some other fun and interesting things to do off the beach in Mazatlán. And one of the fan favorites here is going to the Mazatlán Aquarium. And yes, at this aquarium, they have birds as well. And these are the current prices to enter. And once you get inside, there's so many great sights to see. And I want to give a special shout out to Alfredo for providing us with some of these incredible photos. But I think probably one of our favorites is our good friend, the sea turtle. Tip 9, restaurants. Now, there are a lot of great restaurants in Mazatlán, especially a lot of great local and seafood restaurants in Centro, downtown, the Golden Zone. But first, we're going to take a look at a few restaurants close to where we spent most of our time, the beach. First up, La Costa Marinera. This is a seafood restaurant, and I believe it's still family-owned. We've been coming here for years. It's just so convenient. Just keep in mind that the prices here might be a little higher than places off the beach. You're paying a little more for the location, the convenience, and of course, the wonderful view. As you can see from above, it's got this kind of chill, hut, tropical vibe going on. But being on the beach, it's so convenient. If you're hungry and you're not quite ready to leave the beach yet, you could sit outside on these park benches or go inside and sit at one of the tables. You could also take out if you want. And here's a sampling of the delicious seafood plates we ordered. And just look at the fresh pulpo, or octopus. It was delicious. And why not a beer or two to wash it down? Here's a look at our bill for the day so you get an idea of the prices. So if you're on the beach, you're getting hungry, and not quite ready to leave the beach yet, sit down, get some delicious seafood, a beer, and watch the beautiful Mazatlán sunset. Next up on our list is Diego's Beach and Grill, another one of our beach selections. This is another restaurant that is so convenient as it's right on the beach. We've eaten in and taken out from Diego's. The food is really good, the service staff is excellent, and since you're in such a great location, you have incredible views. There's a lot of seating inside if you prefer, but our seating choice is usually the table closest to the beach. They have a wide array of food selection here, from pizza to seafood to local favorites to burgers. And even though it's on the beach, the prices are pretty reasonable. Here's a quick look at their breakfast, lunch, and dinner menus. And don't forget, they have a wide array of cocktails to choose from, as well as fresh fruit juices if you prefer. Our favorite dish is the hamburguesa de Camarón, or the shrimp burger. It is delicious. So if you're looking for some really good food at reasonable prices with great service, check out Diego's on the beach. If you're looking for a good breakfast spot, we have one for you. Next up on our list, Panama's. There's a few locations throughout Mazatlán. Now, if you're with a big group or kids, this is probably a great place to go, but just remember, you're gonna have to wait. They do have free parking, but usually it's only for an hour, and with the wait times, you'll definitely be there longer than an hour. We prefer to go to the Panama's connected to a hotel, so we can wait out in the lobby or by the pool and avoid waiting in the waiting area. As you can see, this place is very popular, but we don't wait here. We wait out by the pool and check in every once in a while to see if our name is called. They serve breakfast, lunch, dinner, and pastries, but most people come here for the breakfast or the pastries, or both. The prices here are pretty reasonable, and they give you a good-sized portion. Bread comes with your meal, but one thing I don't like is that they pre-butter the bread. It's not my thing. They have a large selection of fresh juices here, and they're really refreshing. The food's pretty good, and there's such a large selection, everybody in your group will find something they like. So if you're looking for a breakfast or pastry place, and you're with a group or a family with kids, and you don't mind waiting, you really should check out Panama's. Now we come to our favorite place on the list, El Cuchapetas. Now this restaurant is about 30 minutes outside the tourist zone, give or take with the traffic. So if you don't feel comfortable leaving the tourist zone, I'd skip it. But if you do decide to go, it'll be well worth it. So we found out from one of the Uber drivers that this restaurant is out of the Uber zone. So we had to cancel the Uber, but they took us there for the same price, but in cash. El Cuchapetas is a family-owned business rich in history. Visited by actors, athletes, politicians, you can see its history in all the pictures lining the walls. You never know who you might meet. It's a great place to go with family or friends. As you look down the menu at all the great choices, your mouth starts to water as you anticipate some of the freshest seafood you've ever had. And don't forget to bring cash, no credit cards accepted here. And as you can see by some of the dishes, they give you a very large portion, and the prices are very reasonable. And here's our favorite dish on the menu, aguachile. It's so fresh and tasty. Another one of our favorites is el pulpo, octopus, and we can't forget those delicious smoked marlin tacos. And wash that all down with an ice-cold Pacifico, and they'll even provide you with an ice-cold bucket to keep your beers cold. So if you do feel comfortable leaving the tourist area, you'll be delighted with some of the freshest, tastiest seafood at El Cuchapetas. Now, our list wouldn't be complete without tasting a few of the local craft beers, so we came to Tres Islas to try some. Now, mind you, we didn't go here the last time we were in town, so I'm assuming the prices have changed slightly. The place has a real cool, down-to-earth, chill vibe. They had a live guitar player for our entertainment. And of course, we had to try a sampler or two, just for test purposes, of course. And they even decided to get a growler to go. When traveling, I always like to try some of the local craft beers, so Tres Islas worked out perfect for us. Number 10, the incredible Mazatlán sunsets. Since Mazatlán is on the west coast, you get these incredible, amazing sunsets. You're gonna have to sit through a few of my favorites. And it's not only the sunsets, it's the magnificent array of colors that fill the picturesque Mazatlán sky. Here's a little slow-mo look as the sun sets at the end of another beautiful day. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit. And if you're lucky, you might just find a romantic, secluded spot all to yourselves to enjoy the magnificent Mazatlán sunset. Some final thoughts. Mazatlán isn't your typical touristy Mexican beach vacation. Mazatlán has that local feel, it's inexpensive, and it's got some beautiful beaches. I like the fact that I can go an entire day on the beach without seeing another tourist from outside the country. I hope this helps you the next time you visit Mazatlán. Safe travels. Please subscribe, like, and share to keep up with all our latest travel news, tips, and reviews, and we do appreciate it as it does help support the channel.